thank you everyone for coming to our BSME informational webinar. Maybe the BSME staff can kind of introduce ourselves, including Lindsay. So I can start. I'm Ryota Matsura. I'm the North American Director of BSME.
I will go next. I am Jill Fisher, and I am the program coordinator for BSME. I'm the one that works with all the students before they go to Budapest and help them with their application process.
So my name is Réka Szász. I'm the Hungarian director of BSME, and I'm responsible for all the academic side of the Hungarian side, and I also teach the practicum course.
Hi everyone, I am Orsi Pulai and I am the student coordinator for BSME, and I am responsible for all non-academic aspects of BSME, from finding apartments for you to stay to like helping you out with various issues other than academics.
Did you say I should introduce myself?
Yeah, go for it.
Oh, okay. I'm Lindsay. I did BSME in 2024. It was a great time. Yeah. There we go.
And Lindsay will tell us a little bit more about her experience later on. So, and I'm also gonna kind of open up the chat box. I think it's open by default, but please feel free to interrupt as I have a short presentation that I want to share. But feel free to kind of put questions there as they arise, or you can vocalize them as well. But without further ado, I'll get started. So what I have kind of planned for this session, want to make it mostly kind of around the participants to ask questions and things like that. But I want to give a brief overview of our program first. And then we'll ask Lindsay to share her experience as a past participant, and then leave the rest open up to a Q&A session. So that's kind of the plan for this session. Just fun facts about Hungary, since our program is situated there, and we have a couple of folks who are currently in Hungary now, two at least. It's in Central Europe, surrounded by 7 countries. Wonderful culture, people, scenery, food, all those great things. And it has a very kind of rich history in mathematics. If you've ever played Rubik's Cube, if you've taught with base 10 blocks, maybe more at the elementary levels, those are just 2 of many, many things that came out of Hungary. And sometime in the last century, there was some study, not without any citations, so I wouldn't put too much weight on it. But the bottom line is there are lots and lots of mathematicians who come out of Hungary, a lot more than you might imagine if you just, do the population calculation. And so kind of what's the secret, if you will. And that's where the origin, if you will, of BSME kind of comes. It's the way that, I contend, at least it's the way that mathematics is taught in Hungary. And we call it in BSME, Hungarian mathematical pedagogy. Maybe in Hungary, they just call it, this is how we teach math. A heavy emphasis on problem solving and giving students the opportunity to figure things out on their own. So the excitement of discovery. And along with that, making room for students to argue and make mistakes and learn from them. And viewing math as a whole discipline. So as opposed to your standard, algebra 1, geometry, algebra 2, pre-calculus, that kind of path towards learning math at the secondary level in this country, it's just math, and lots of interdisciplinary way of thinking about mathematics. And because of this student-centered approach, the teacher's role is more of a motivator and a facilitator rather than kind of lecturer and transfer of knowledge that you might often see. And so our program, BSME, which stands for Budapest Semesters in Math Education, our goal is for our participants to experience and study that Hungarian pedagogy. It's a 6-week summer program. We typically start in mid to late June and go around till late July or early August. The exact dates are on our website, and our webpage is kind of at that lower left right there, bsmeducation.com. And so it's a 6-week summer program for a broad range of people, which I'll get to later on. Really, anyone interested in learning about the secondary mathematics pedagogy, if you will. So our approach, we often say we ask our participants to put both the student hat and the teacher hat on as they participate in BSME. And so we do have courses where our participants learn some new mathematics through the Hungarian pedagogy, because it's good to experience that learning environment from the student perspective. So there are some pictures there where you see our participants playing puzzles and learning some mathematical content from that. We also have field experiences where our participants observe this kind of pedagogy by observing Hungarian teachers work with secondary students. Now, our program is during the summer when school is out, but there are lots of math camps all across Hungary where middle school and high school students come to do enrichment. And so that's where we do our field experience. And as part of that field experience, our participants also get an opportunity to design and teach their own lessons to Hungarian students. So that can be done in pair teaching and things like that. And this is all done in English, so you don't have to master Hungarian in 6 weeks or anything like that. The courses that we offer, we have 3 courses, kind of one about using games and playfulness in teaching mathematics. The second course is about this guided discovery, the student-centered approach where students learn math by doing math through problem solving. And so how do you teach in that kind of environment? And then the third course is what we call the practicum. That's the course that Reka teaches. And that's the field experience week. And then the accompanying coursework that also occurs before it. But the key part of that is really going to the math camp and working with Hungarian students and designing lessons and teaching them. I do think our biggest strengths are our BSME instructors. These are Hungarian teacher scholars. So they grew up in this kind of pedagogy, and many of them are middle school and high school teachers who now teach using this same pedagogy. So you see Reka's picture right there, but we have many wonderful Hungarian teachers who are part of the BSME program, and all the courses are taught in English. So I mentioned earlier, Budapest is just a wonderful city, and so we do recognize that, going and learning abroad is not just about learning the content, but immersing oneself in the culture of that location, in our case, Budapest. And so we do like to kind of give space for our participants to explore and enjoy not just Budapest, but cities outside of Budapest and also neighboring countries as well. Given the location of Hungary, it's easy to get to other places for relatively cheap price. Our participants come from broad range of backgrounds. Many of our participants are pre-service teachers who are pursuing their teaching license at an undergrad level. We have other students who are not in a licensure program, but thinking about teaching, perhaps doing a master's program afterwards. We do have in-service teachers, and we offer graduate credits to postgrads. So I'll mention that a little bit later on. And we have folks who are just simply curious about the learning and teaching of math from more academic point of view. I mentioned graduate credits earlier. So if you're an undergrad, well, I should start either way, whether you're undergrad or you already have your bachelor's degree, you can get credits through taking courses at BSME. If you're an undergrad, you get undergraduate credits from St. Olaf College. That's my institution. And then if you're already have your bachelor's, you can earn graduate credits through our partner, Texas State University. So either way, you can get credits by participating in BSME. And so pretty much nearing the end of my presentation, there's our webpage, there's our application. It's free to apply. You still have about a little over 3 weeks. The application deadline is April 1. And we are already accepting applicants on a rolling basis. And so sooner rather than later is highly recommended. And here's our contact information. There's our email. There's our webpage. Most of the information that I discussed are on that page as well. So I'm going to stop sharing. And then at this point, I'll ask our past participant, Lindsay, who's like, I can see her from my window sitting right there because she's back on St. Olaf campus. To perhaps, when did you attend? And then maybe a little bit more, a couple of summers ago, I think.
Yeah, it was the summer of 2024. Um, yeah, there's definitely plenty of time outside of class to like go and explore around Budapest, and there's trips led by wonderful people to towns around the area. And I also had the opportunity with the people who I met in BSME who were awesome as well. We had made a good friendship. Um, and we were able to go and travel to Italy as well. So there's definitely time to travel. And the courses themselves are just wonderful. The instructors are amazing. I I really appreciated like getting the background knowledge on Hungarian math, and I will definitely like I'm a uh, I got my degree in math and education, so I'm trying to be a math teacher. So I'm definitely going to use many of the resources and methods that I learned throughout BSME when I go into actually teaching. You learn a great deal, and it feels very collaborative and fun and light. So it was it was just a great time and definitely a rich um, learning of math. And yeah, I don't know what else for questions or anything.
And by the way, full disclosure, Lindsay is one of my students. She was like she was a math and education double major at St. Olaf College, where I teach. But also she graduated already a semester early, so she has no reason not to be perfectly honest about her experience because she's all done with college. So,
I
but
like I always say to like my parents, I'm like, that was the best summer of my life. And I'm so grateful to have been able to experience it. It was a wonderful time. And Budapest is beautiful. And my dad even came to visit, so we were able to go to Austria together, and yeah, it was just a good time. Wonderful stuff.
great,
What's
thanks, Lindsay.
some knowledge? I don't know about the experience. I don't know, just any
Could you say a
questions.
little bit about some of the courses you took? That might.
Yeah, so I think the guided discovery definitely um like gets you started like seeing it as a student. Really appreciated that class. Um, and you just get to work with the people around you discovering math like as a student, which puts you back in that spot, which is really nice. And then the gamification, we learned like a lot of different activities and things, and they keep like a spreadsheet of these things that I still look at, um, of like some of the activities in each of the classes. Gamification, yeah, we just learn different games by also playing them too. Um, so it's not just here's this game, maybe use it. It's you get to play along, and the practicum class we got experience lesson planning, being able to teach to the class, and we got to participate in the other students like lessons, be the students in that way as well. And then the math camp, now that was an amazing experience, planning lessons together and then teaching them like in partners or groups to Hungarian students. It was just really really fun and meaningful. Yeah. Yeah. Oh.
Thanks, Lindsay. Um, well, I can open up to questions, or if Reka or Joe, if you have any remarks you want to give. How many? Oh, there's a question. How much time is allowed for trips and excursions? Are these mostly done on the weekends?
I did my there's a couple led by what was her name? There's a led by a
Yeah.
trip on one of the weekends. Yeah. And then yeah, mostly just weekends and then like afternoons to like go around Budapest and stuff. There's definitely time there.
Uh, Lindsay, what's like a regular day look like while you're over there during this program?
So I forget when class started because it was a while ago. But we would have like the morning class and then we would have lunch together. I think there was like an hour for lunch. Um, so usually we would just go walk around to the places by the school. There was plenty like to eat near the school. Um, and then so
Oh, the St. Olaf internet. I see her. Oh, well, Reka, maybe,
And
or she,
meanwhile, yeah.
yeah,
So,
schedule.
um, so actually, I'll answer the question, but also, we have videos about a day
Oh, that's right.
in Budapest and a day in the math camp. They're on our website. So I'll send you the links in the chat. But the day when you're Budapest, those weeks, the courses start at 9, and then there are three 90 minutes courses each day. Each day is the same schedule. So, and then after the second course, there's an hour lunch break. And then, so the whole day ends mid-afternoon. That's a typical day. And Lindsay's back.
okay, sorry about that. My computer died. Okay, we're back. What was I explaining? My day. Um, yeah, so then after lunch we had the more classes and then after that in the afternoon was when we would um like go around Budapest, visit like all the beautiful buildings and yeah, just that was time for that. And do homework, of course.
Of course. Thank you.
Lindsay, can you talk about your camp experience, the math camp experience?
Yeah, so it was a week. And it's right by the lake. So you would have time to go down, swim in the lake. Um, there was okay. So we stayed in cabins there. I'm also just trying to remember. Um, yeah, we got to like sit in on the teachers who were like the actual teachers at the camp. We got to sit in on their classes, see what they used and what they were teaching about, learn in that way, and then work with our teammates to plan our lessons and then give those to the students. We also got to like lead some introduction activities, and there's there was things planned by the camp, like excursions, like a hike one day and stuff like that. So just, yeah.
How was it handled with the Hungarian and English? How were you able to understand the lessons?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember, were some of them taught in English? I'm thinking because like most of the students there spoke English as well. And then the students who we led the lessons of, um, definitely like they gave us like high schoolers mostly who spoke English. So during our lessons, we could talk to them, pose questions and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm trying to remember, but we definitely saw like the activities they would do and the materials they would use, which is pretty universal to see that in the lessons.
Yeah, to add to that, so yeah, as Lindsay said, the lessons that the BSME participants teach are in English because the students teach English, and then the ones that they observe are usually in Hungarian, and then the BSME instructor translates. We have this little translator gadgets, like you have earphones, and then I will translate the lesson, and then the participants just hear it in English.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, that's what it was.
Can you talk a little bit about where you lived in Budapest and what that was like and who you shared an apartment with?
Yeah, so I shared an apartment with three other BSME participants, and we each got our own rooms. Um, yeah, it was a really nice apartment in Budapest. We could walk to many restaurants, and we actually would walk to the school as well. It was probably about a 15-minute walk to the school in the mornings, and like coffee shops nearby, stuff like that. And I think most of the apartments were about, I think, a 15-minute walk from the school. But yeah, there was many different apartments across the area that participants stayed in. Yeah.
And I have to apologize. I just got the 10-minute warning. St. Olaf downgraded our Zoom license. And so we have a bit of limited time here, unfortunately. But so if there's any other questions people have, please ask them or type them in the chat.
And I should mention that housing is taken care of by us, and by us, I mean Orshi. So people don't
Yeah,
have to
we are
find.
working with a pool of apartments that we are using like each semester, and these are all landlords we have very good relationships with, and these apartments are checked by us and have been used by previous students. So this is how we arrange it, and it's about 30 minutes. That's the worst um, time to get to BSM. So, any questions?
Hi, I'm curious about the graduate school project that's on top of the courses that you would take. Can you talk about some recent projects that were done by students who are in-service teachers and how that was culminated?
Oh, Reka, do you want to answer that?
Sorry, I had a connection problem. Can
Oh,
you?
the graduate project, the graduate
Okay.
project.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, thank you. So the the graduate project, the goal is to have a project which relates to the experience of the participant in all three BSME courses. And it has it like the aim is to be something that relates to their future goals, so something that's useful for them in using what they learn in BSME towards their career or learning goals. And it's really free in terms of what the project can be. So, for example, last year we had a participant who did a mini research on a topic that she was interested in. And 2 years ago, we had two students cooperating on a video where they made a video about their experiences, their academic experiences in BSME. So it's really there's big freedom, and I'm supervising it. So we work together on choosing the topic, and then I help the participant in carrying out the project.
So I imagine it could be like a paper or a presentation with slides or a video, like Reka said. I think there are
Yeah,
lots of different options for
lesson,
format.
yes. Lesson plans, lots of different options.
Any other questions? Reka, you just put a link. Is that for
Yes, I
the
put two
video?
links for the two videos. The first one is about the Budapest component, and the second one is about the maths component.
The cost of the program. So the tuition is $5,000, and then plus living expenses and kind of travel costs to and from Budapest. Those are um, paid for by the participants. So in addition to the tuition, kind of the estimated costs for the other stuff are on our webpage. We as a program don't offer scholarships, but I know, for example, if you're an undergrad student, many home institutions do offer some financial aid to go abroad. So, like my institution, St. Olaf College, I think you can get some funding if you're in going to a summer abroad program. And then there are kind of external, funds available for teachers, pre-service or in-service. NCTM has a lot of these, uh, you know, funds available to both pre-service and in-service teachers. So if you go to nctm.org, I think you can kind of search on the various funding opportunities. Question about medical accident insurance.
So the living expense we have on our website, I'll post the link in a minute, an estimate of living expenses. They are generally a lot lower than living expenses in North America. And yes, students are required to purchase medical insurance, and also and other type of medical insurance is also included in tuition. And thanks to Yurta for posting the link with the living expenses.
I think the cost of living in general in Budapest, I mean, it depends on where you are in the US, but it's comparable or lower than many US cities, I would say.
I was going to add, we just have about 2.5 minutes left. Apology for the time limitation.
Any other questions? Well, all right then. Well, you have our website. I'll put the this goes directly to Jill. This is the email address that if you have any questions, and our webpage is bsmeducation.com that has most, if not all, of the information that we discussed today. So, well, thank you again for joining the webinar. Thanks, Lindsay, for sharing your experiences. And again, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. And so, thank you.